Good morning. The sun's coming up. And it's dark back toward town. We're headed toward the sunrise. And I've been here 3 weeks today, and I'm just now catching the very, very, very beginning of sunrise at the beach. And it's a beautiful kind of low tide, so there's plenty of room to walk in the waves. And today is lesson 35 of A Course in Miracles, and I'm trying to remember the title. I just looked at it. My mind is part of God's. It is very holy. My mind is part of God's. It is very holy. And again, it's a new way of, it's like a fresh way of seeing things. Whatever thoughts are going through our heads, good or bad or indifferent, my mind is part of God's. It is very holy. I'm like, what's that even mean? So usually that means like, it all shall be revealed when it's time. And so as I practiced it, it says to go through like, I see myself as blank, but my mind is part of God's. It is very holy. So I could see myself as good things. I could see myself as not so positive things. And in any case, but my mind is part of God's. It is very holy. So it gave some examples on, like, you could say, I see myself as, let's say self-deprecating. Like I'm self-critical, perhaps. I see myself as being highly self-critical, but my mind is part of God's. It is very holy. You could say I see myself as generous, but my mind is part of God's. It is very holy. So I think no matter what the thought is, it doesn't matter. It's all false. These are just perceptions from our mind, and all of it is just not true. All of it, good and bad. None of it's true. Because the mind of God is real vision, true vision. I still don't know all of what that means. But that's the whole point of the book. If I knew what it meant at lesson 35, lesson 365 wouldn't carry the same finale, I'm sure. So, but it's starting to work its weird little magic on me. It's like this non-attachment to my own thoughts and releasing self-limiting beliefs, because they're just false. They're just things my mind, my ego mind made up to keep me small, to keep me needing it, to keep me needing a protector, a savior, whatever that is that the ego does. So anyway, it's still that release, shedding, transforming, like, well, not even just transform, just release. Like, non-attachment to those thoughts. They don't carry the charge, like the emotional charge they once did. Even into lesson 35, it's already like things are releasing their grip on me, which is amazing. I feel so much more peace and freedom already, and we're only in lesson 35 out of 365. Oh my God, imagine what the end of this year is going to be like. I'm sure there will be some hard times this year, because transformation isn't always comfortable. Growth, release. I've shed a lot of tears in 1 month, and I'm grateful for that. It's been very, very, well, it's led to a lot more peace going through the storm instead of around the storm. So going through is the fastest way, isn't it? Heading straight in. There's an analogy of like the bison, I think. They always go as a herd into the storm because they know intuitively it's the fastest way through. It's the most direct way through. Not even fastest, it's just the most direct. Like, quit dancing around the storm. You're prolonging the discomfort of the storm. Just go right, head into it. So that's what I've been doing this year for sure. Head straight into it. Look, the sun's coming up. It's always coming up. So yeah, I see myself as blank. I see myself as this or that, good or bad or otherwise. And yet, my mind is part of God's. It is holy. Still don't know what holy means other than pure. It is not, let's see, it's not weighed down by the limitations of the ego. The ego is everything false. It's like the shackles of like anything that I've ever butted up against that never felt good to me, like doctrine and dogma and rigidity and rules for the sake of keeping each other in line because we're too scared to live into our own fullness of being. Like, well, if I don't have the courage to do it, I don't want anybody else to do it. Yet we still admire those people who can do it secretly. We're like, oh, that looks so beautiful and free. Ow, I stubbed my toe on a rock. Ouch. I'm at the rocky part of the beach now, apparently. Ow, 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 ow. That didn't feel peaceful. So, yeah, I guess that's how it's landing in me right now, is like just recognizing that any thought that I have about myself is just plain false. Even if I'm like, I'm amazing. Well, that's false too. Because my mind is the mind of God's. My mind is in God's. God is in my mind. And it is holy. And it is like these thoughts, these human thoughts we have about ourselves are kind of irrelevant. They're not useful in any way whatsoever. Even the good ones, I guess, if you want to call it good, like, I'm a generous person. Okay, but what does that mean? What does that do for you? Does it just make you feel good instead of do good? I don't know. I'm trying to find the usefulness in it once I really feel into like the neutrality and the equanimity of my mind being like part of God's. Then anything human, these words don't really have relevance for me right now. It makes me release, yeah, I guess what it does is it just makes me want to release all attachment to those things. Because even if they made me have a little feel-good moment, I don't want to be attached to that. Wow, it's very Buddhist in nature. So, yeah, and I love the more I can just be unattached. It's so liberating, just by the nature of the word, right? These rocks are brutal. Although yesterday, I walked barefoot all through town over gravel. Maybe it's just the morning sensitivity. So, yeah, I think that's what it means to me right now. It helps me feel more non-attachment, which helps me feel more freedom and equanimity. The equalness of all things, no matter what emotional charge they may have had. It's all good. It's in my eyes of God. It just is. It just is. The isness of things. so liberating. Some people I've heard say like, well, that's not a very like exciting way to look at things. And I used to say that too, like the phrase, it is what it is. The phrase, if you take it just for the words themselves, beautiful. The isness of all things. It is what it is. But the way our culture has twinged it with apathy, I still don't like that. Like, something doesn't feel right to me. Like, just to say, well, it is what it is. Yes, and like, we can do something about it. You know, if you're saying that, I feel like if I were to say that about something I'm giving up on because I don't see my way through it, like the storm, let's say it's whatever storm you're dealing with, and I don't see my way around or through it, well, it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to ride out the storm. Maybe there's another way through it that'll be very transformative. Might be hard. So I guess if it's twinged with apathy, I get sort of like that whole lust for life thing. When we lose that, it feels like, oh, so sad. I've lost it time and again and found my way back to it. And just this morning, oh man, walking on the beach before I started this video, and I saw like the waves just gently, you can see like very gentle, just sort of like nothing crazy. They come up, sometimes they touch my feet like that, and then it goes back. And then I saw the ripples left in the sand, like these like wavy patterns that the water makes in the sand close to the water. And I'm like, oh my God, no one's around to see this but me, and it's gonna be gone in like the next few waves. And I just started crying because of the fleeting nature of this lifetime. Like, life is eternal. I believe like we're never truly gone. We're all just changing form. Our energy changes expression. And so what's so beautiful though is like this one manifestation of this one lifetime is just so temporary, and it's so beautiful. Like, whatever we decide to do with it, or if we decide to, well, deciding to do nothing is still a decision to do something. So if you just want to like zen out at the beach your whole friggin' life, do it. I wonder, it makes me curious if you've lived like 1,000 lifetimes of hardship and you're like, finally, peace. So it's like, no, we shouldn't judge each other for how we're living our lives. You don't know what other lives I've lived. You don't know what I've lived in this life to get me to this point where I might be able to finally take a breather. That's just one example of like how each of our journeys is just, I love how different they are, and how we shouldn't place expectation on each other for what your journey should look like, or even put it on myself about what my journey should look like, which is really my problem. Like, that I've been dealing with in my life, like, what's this life supposed to look like? Well, quit comparing yourself with everyone else. Like, really do some soul searching. What feels right to you? And that's why I did some journaling yesterday about what are my unique quote-unquote gifts, or things that come so easy for me, that are just a part of me that I have freely to give without second thought, without expecting anything in return. It's just a part of me. Like, take it. For me, it's like when fish don't know they're in water, it's because that's their home. So that these things of me, I haven't really paid much attention to, because they're just part of me. You have them too, and you have them too, and you have them too. And those are the things we, like I was saying, we admire in each other. Like, I want some of that. And that person's like, what? What are you talking about? It's just part of me. Have some, freely. I have an endless well of it. And that's what the Course in Miracles book says from day one. Like, a miracle is simply that. Somebody who has more of something giving it to somebody who has less of that thing. And it uses the word temporarily. Like, I may temporarily have more of this, so here's my extra. When you have temporarily had less than that. Less of that. Oh my God, look at this. They eat the little sand crabs or whatever they're eating. They stick their long beak in the sand and dig them out before those little creatures can swim back into the water after the tide goes out. And they have these cute little skinny legs and they go, it's running, it's so cute. So no one else is looking at this bird right now but me. It's just me and this bird. A moment never to be repeated between even me and this bird. Isn't that wild? It's so beautiful. I want to cry again when I think about how everything is just so perfectly unique and temporary. Nothing's the same. Ever. You literally can't repeat anything exactly as it was. Prove me wrong. What happened there? Get the cobwebs out. So it's probably time to turn around because I really should eat a breakfast this morning. Sometimes I haven't been good about that. And we have big physical days of body work, so. But anyway, that's lesson 35, and I guess that's what it made me think of. Made me think of more than I thought it made me think of. Made me feel how I really feel about this topic of just continually releasing, just non-attachment. Why it doesn't do me any good to attach to anything, really. Funny, tying it all together with my morning voice journaling, which I woke up feeling like, I think it's time to physically release some of my physical belongings that I've just been toting around for years. I feel unattached to all that stuff now. So, if I get home and if I find time, I'll make time. Matt and I have been talking about, it feels like it's almost time to get rid of some stuff. And then I woke up this morning I feel unattached. And it's so freeing to have that feeling. But it first started with the desire to want to release, and then started with the commitment. I've been going into the ocean every other day and release, release, release. Surrendering. It's I don't want this anymore. These icky traits, these icky behaviors. I don't gross. I don't even know how else to say it other than stuff that is no longer working for me. And it's caused problems in my life. I obviously have gotten to age 47, unable to keep myself from doing or thinking these things. So just take them from me. I'm ready. I can't do it myself. I've tried. And they talk about that in religion all the time, don't they? Bring your stuff to God. And I'm what's that even mean? Nothing landed in me, until I had to find my own way into it, which wasn't through religion. Yet, I sure do say the God word a lot. Isn't that funny? God and religion are not synonymous at all. Religion is attachment. I mean, if you want to tie all this together, prove me wrong on that too. If you practice non-attachment, you probably aren't super religious. Meaning you don't have to follow a lot of rules. You don't have to follow a lot of ritual, a lot of dogma, a lot of doctrine. You're not painting people in corners. You're not making sure everybody's behaving correctly. You're not judging others. Isn't it weird how judgment goes along with a lot of religions? like mind-blowing. It just, it's absurd. So, like, religion is a form of attachment. I mean, oh, yeah, it feels true to me. I don't know. I love practicing non-attachment. It feels hard at first, like, because it's confusing at first. Like, what's it even mean? And to me, it's been like I've only truly started to understand it when I started to surrender, to truly force myself to unattach, because I had to recognize that I couldn't do it myself. I couldn't peel myself away from things. But that's just me. Other people might have a different way into non-attachment. Might be through just meditation without surrender. I don't know. For me, surrender is like right now, at least in this path I'm on, whatever that is. Surrender is like my way in to a lot of stuff, a lot of healing stuff, I guess. Change, transformation, shedding what no longer helps me. So I'm gonna go because I'm gonna make my way back to campus. Here, you can have some of that. Oh, I'm still zoomed in. There we go. It's like a real pretty sky this morning. Yellows and salmons and oranges and pinks and blues and greens and everything in between. Bye.